Hello and welcome to another episode of Face the Trader. Today we're here in Bangkok. We are attending the IFX Expo Asia. And today we have the privilege of speaking with Yvan Byeajee, a seasoned professional trader with nearly 2 decades of experience and as a trading psychology coach with a unique focus on mindfulness. Through his platform, Trading Composure, Yvan has helped countless traders develop the mental resilience needed to succeed in the markets. Yvan, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you in Face the Trader episode. For the audience that is watching for the audience that is watching this, just a reminder that nothing you get from here is trading advice. Please do your own research. Please go to trading education channels and to learn more if trading is the right path for you. I'm joined today with my co-host Fred Gerwitz, all the way from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but today here in Bangkok. So Yvan, welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me on, David and Fred. It's a pleasure to be here, really.
Yvan, so you've made mindfulness a cornerstone of your trading psychology teachings. How did you first think about that, discover the importance of mindfulness in trading, and what impact has it had in your own trading journey?
hmm it's a really great question, David. Um, I first discovered the importance of mindfulness in trading through my own struggles with trading in the market, right? Through my own struggles with my emotions. I'm an emotional guy, I'm a sensitive guy, and I feel things deeply, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And in trading, that doesn't work very well. You have to have a tougher skin, because the market has no shortage of of challenges that it throws your way continuously. And so you need to be a little bit more have a little bit more balance, have a little bit more stability in terms of how you deal with yourself, in terms of your emotions, in terms of your feelings, uh, because it's not really the market itself that is the cause of all your troubles. It's how you respond, right? It's really this. It's how you respond. And so early on, I found that my decisions were driven by emotions rather than strategy in trading in the market, which led to inconsistent results and just an overall increase in my stress levels. And early on, it became clear to me that managing my emotions was a crucial piece of the trading success puzzle. And so that's how I embarked on this journey, on this mindfulness journey. Initially, and as I delved deeper and deeper and deeper, as I started practicing the different varieties of meditation practices that are available, the different meditations, I started to notice over time, not overnight, over time, I started to notice a fundamental shift in in how I approach the market and more broadly in how I approach my life overall. So that was really a paradigm shifting moment for me. I was My approach to the market was just more rational, more clear, more focused. I began to make decisions based on strategy rather than reacting impulsively to just random market fluctuations, right? And that aside, it benefited my life overall, right? Mindfulness benefited my life overall, not just my trading. I always say this, and I was telling you guys this before we started the call. I speak with a stutter, and I always share this because I want to show people how impactful the practice is. I've always spoken with a stutter, but meditation has allowed me to manage that stutter that I've always had, so much so that you can barely hear it now. But it's always there. I always struggle with this, but it's not as bad as it used to be. So mindfulness is not a magic pill, and I hope I'm not portraying it as such. It's it's a practice, right? And so it takes repeated seeing and learning to effect the transformation. It's not some overnight sort of pill that you take that you get overnight success or overnight change. Once again, it's a practice, and if you stick with it, it has long term and profound impacts on your well-being, on your ability to see things more clearly. And so that's why I'm such a big advocate of the practice, especially for traders, because there's a certain level of uncertainty baked into market prices that no amount of analysis can fully dispel. And if you don't know how to manage yourself amidst that uncertainty, trading is going to be very difficult for you. It's going to remain very difficult.
How do you define mindfulness? I mean, you spoke a little bit about what it does and what it brings, but how would you define? Is it a connection between your body and and your mind, your soul? How would you define it for the traders out there listening that couldn't quite grasp the concept of mindness yet?
The popular definition of mindfulness, the way it's often portrayed is that it's you connecting to the present moment. But I don't like that this definition. It's mindfulness has to mean something deeper, okay, than just being present, than just connecting to the present moment. To me, mindfulness is it's a strategy of attention. It's how you direct your attention, and so you're directing it in a specific way, so that you're you're paying attention to the raw uh, to raw sensory inputs before the mind processes it and analyzes it and stamps a label on it. So whatever you're hearing, whatever you're smelling, whatever you're touching, whatever you're feeling, you're just feeling it as it is and as it really is, right? Not as the mind wants you to perceive it to be, but really as it is. And this is really what mindfulness is. It's really, uh, yeah, being yourself in this kind of way, in a way that where you sink below your thoughts and you're just observing things in their true nature. And I know it sounds simplistic, it sounds simple, it doesn't sound deep at all. But when you really practice this over and again, when you make this a habit, it has the power to radically change the way you experience your life, right? Because it connects you to something much more fundamental about reality, about your life, about everything. And yeah, and that has the power to shift the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the world, the way you perceive how things are evolving, and it's once again it's particularly helpful in trading, because in trading we're often caught in our emotions, in how we think things should be, in how what the market is doing. But when you step back a little bit and really analyze things more objectively through that lens of, okay, I'm here, I'm just observing things as they are, and I'm not taking things personally. Um, um, this helps you connect to something much more fundamental, which really liberates your potential as a trader, as a human being. So that was a long-winded answer. I hope it answers your question. If it doesn't, let me know. I'll clarify further.
So Yvonne, as I was reading about what you do and what you're working on, I thought more of outside of the trading side, more of a personal life side too. How do these two relate when you're working to have a balanced mindset on the trading side of things? How does that relate to more of a personal life, a home life, from a mindset standpoint?
hmm While trading and life are not separate, they're really one and the same, right? How you deal with life is how you deal with trading, and how you deal with trading is often how you deal with life. They're really one and the same. And so the habits and the mindset that you cultivate in life, they're bound to to get reflected in how you approach the market and how you approach trading overall. So, and this is where mindfulness comes in. It helps you approach life. It helps you approach trading more intentionally, right? You're doing it. more from this place of just stability of mind, composure, right? You're embracing whatever the market or life throws at you, and you're seeing it through the lens of wisdom, right? And you're just less in your emotions, less in your thoughts, and because of that, you're reacting with more wisdom, right? And this can be a game changer, Fred. Really.
The the reason why I asked you how you define it, and you put up a very good answer, is that I don't have necessarily a specific experience with mindfulness in the way that you describe, but I do have a friend. So I'm Jewish by heritage, and I have a friend who's also Jewish, and he used to try all sorts of endeavors, all sorts of entrepreneurial endeavors, and open companies, and trading, and etc. And nothing would ever work. And he used to go to the rabbi, and he used to say, "Rabbi, my mom passed away. I got all of this money from her, and I lost everything because I did a bad investment. Rabbi, I had a girlfriend. I just lost her because I had no money to buy her stuff or take her to the movie theater." And the rabbi every time would tell him to that he needs to wake up in the morning and he needs to put the tefillin. So I don't know if you know what a tefillin is, but Jews, they put something that you wrap around your arm, and you put a little box on your head. You've probably seen pictures maybe, and you also wrap that around. It's a morning ritual that every Jew, when you wake up, you have to do, which is to connect your body to your mind, and your mind to the higher power. And that, I think, relates a lot to what you're talking about mindfulness, separate from the religious aspect of it, because it is a ritual that Jews do that every time. And that person that I know started to do that, started to put the tefillin every day at 6 in the morning. And after 6 months, he opened a company, and it was his first successful company back in Brazil, where I used to live. And that was a very important thing. So I definitely can see a lot of what you're saying. I definitely can relate to that story, which is something very interesting, and brings me to the next question. Do you think that mindfulness is also a spiritual relationship between you and more than just you, or you think it's something substantially more physical than it is spiritual?
Well, I think first of all, mindfulness doesn't belong to a specific religion.
Yeah.
I hope I made this clear. It's a strategy of attention, right? And so it's how you direct your attention. And so mindfulness isn't Buddhist, it's not Hindu, it's not Christian, it's not Muslim, it's not anything. It's just brain exercises. That's all it is. And now, of course, you can practice it in a religious context. But to connect to what you were saying, I think at the end of the day, it's really about intentional living, how you're living your life, and how you're your how you're choosing to express your potential, and what are the steps that you're doing to to improve just the quality of your life overall, right? To get better outcomes for yourself, right? In this thing called life, right? And whatever works for you, is worth doing, right? If you do those practices through a religious lens, then I mean, fair enough. If that works for you, then great. Personally, I'm not a religious person at all. It's not that I don't believe in God or whatever. It's just that I'm rather agnostic. I don't know what is out there. And I try to keep an open mind. I try to live my life as if there's a God, or there's gods, whatever it is. There's a creative force, out there. uh, and I do my very very best to do good actions, to be a good human being, always, although it's not always easy. Life is hard, right? You do what you can. um, but at the end of the day, really think that it's really about intentional living, and how you choose to, what kind of energy you're putting out in the world. And mindfulness is a way to sort of refine your level of self-awareness, so that you're more conscious of what you're doing. And because you're more conscious, you can be more deliberate about the kind of energy, the kind of sort of karma that you're putting out there. And everything about this world, from what I've observed personally in my own life, everything is cause and effect, and so what you put out there is what you get, really. And so this is how I approach trading. This is how I try to approach my life. Not saying this is easy; it's hard, but in to my mind, this is what gets you better results when you're really careful about what you put out there in terms of your actions, your energy, and all of that, because you really reap what you sow.
That makes sense. And you mentioned a lot in your material as well that daily routines is can be a powerful, can be very powerful in maintaining a balanced mindset. What does your daily routine looks like, and how does it support your trading success?
Mhm. That's that's an excellent question, David. A trader's daily routine is really an important part of how he or she approaches the market overall. The typical trader's morning routines are just filled with chaos and noise and anxiety, right? Very often things are wasted on trivial things. Preparation is done at the very last minute, and this sets the tone for a chaotic, an emotional, and unstructured sort of trading session, right? And structured approach to the market. And the antidote to this, of course, is very, very simple. It's due diligence. It's preparation, um, and in most cases, this has to be done the prior night, ideally, right? Very, very important. But perhaps just as important is uh, systemizing the first hour of the day, and making it a sort of sacred time for intentional tasks, maybe solitude, maybe reflection, maybe mindfulness, meditation, and routines like that can be super powerful, because I mean that can make all the difference for you. In fact, I've worked with a lot of traders over the years, and what I've noticed is that the consistently profitable ones, they have these so-called sacred rituals, right, that they do in the morning, to help them prepare mentally for the trading day, for the trading session. And those those rituals can be meditation, it can be affirmations, uh, exercise, journaling, creating a list that you're grateful for, um, reviewing your action plan for the day, making sure that you're in the right state of mind overall, restating your commitment to being disciplined and to your trading plan, your trading process, things like that. And I do some of those myself, by the way. No, though not everything that I've just stated here. For instance, I do meditate every single day in the morning, right when I wake up. I write in my journal as well. And since I've developed that habit of meditation in the morning and journaling, my entire days have transformed. I'm more mindful. I'm more positive. I'm more focused. I'm more productive overall. Um, and treating my first hour like that, it helps me remember that what's important is not just the first hour of the day, it's the entire day, right? It's really the momentum that you set that first hour, that first hour of your day, that sort of ripples throughout the trading day. And so whether I end the day with a positive PNL or not, my attitude is always positive. um, and yeah, I derive a lot of pleasure from doing things like that, from having that morning ritual. And nobody bothers me in the morning, right? I have this agreement with my partner that when we wake up, we have this morning, a silent morning ritual going on. We don't talk to each other. Of course, we kiss each other good morning, but then we don't talk. I'm there with myself, with my emotions, with my own thoughts, And this is an introspective moment for me. I meditate first thing, and then I journal a little bit, and then I'm just there, reflecting and observing the market and watching futures, and just creating my action plan for the day in terms of how I will behave under different scenarios, so that I'm not caught off guard, by surprise market movements. And that structure is very, very important, you guys.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask a little bit about that too, and how you manage it when things don't go as planned. I am a complete creature of habit. I get up at the same time every morning. I make coffee the same time every morning. I start my workday at the same time. I let my dog out at the same time. But once in a while, things come up. Maybe it's an unexpected phone call. Maybe your kitchen sink started leaking and you had to fix it. And sometimes it feels like when you get out of that routine, your whole day just kind of goes awry. How do you reset when something unexpected happens, and how do you move forward with that when things just aren't going as planned?
Well, I don't pretend to be a professional there. I struggle myself with these surprise elements of life. Um, what I can say is that, and this brings us back to mindfulness once again. Um, it's helped me develop with consistent practice. It's helped me develop a certain level of self-awareness that I just didn't have before. So right now, when I notice um, that I'm getting caught up in my thoughts or in on my emotions, um, I notice it rather quickly. I notice it rather quickly, and then when you notice, awareness is always the first step. Then when you notice, you're able to make better choices for yourself, right? Wiser choices. Uh, and so once again, I don't pretend to be an expert there. I'm just a human being, like each and every one of us. uh, if anything, I'm better now at managing those, my emotions in terms of those challenging aspects of life. But once again, mindfulness has allowed me to develop that self-awareness to just notice what is happening within myself. And when I'm able to notice what's happening within myself, I'm I'm much more capable of snapping out of it, and just reverting to a place of, okay, let's take it easy. Let's how am I approaching my emotions right now? Am I fighting them, or am I approaching them with friendlier attitude? Right, leaning into them instead of fighting them, whether it's frustration, whether it's anger, whether it's disappointment. And I was talking about my stutter earlier. What often happens with my stutter is that when I notice that I'm stumbling on my words, what often happens is that I get emotional about it. There are some emotions sprouting, right? Frustration, disappointment, whatever it is. And before mindfulness, what would happen is that I would blindly react to those emotions. And what would end up happening is that it would fuel more emotions, and more emotions would fuel the stutter. It's this never ending cycle that keeps feeding itself, right? But with mindfulness, what happens is that now when I notice that I'm stumbling on my words, and when I notice frustration or disappointment or whatever it is arising within my this structure called body within my mind, I'm much more aware of it, and I adopt a friendlier attitude towards it. I'm not fighting those emotions anymore. I'm leaning into them. I'm approaching them with a friendlier attitude. And what happens is that it just stops the cycle right there. It doesn't feed the cycle anymore. And so I stutter way less. And it's the exact same principle here. When you notice something adverse happening in life, with a strong mindfulness in the mind, what you can do is that you can become more aware of what's happening. And instead of feeding those blind emotional reactions, the anger, the frustration, whatever it is, you're much more you're much more capable of approaching those emotions differently. And when you approach your inner life, your emotions, your thoughts differently, everything changes.
On that still, a lot of traders, as you probably know and seen, have unrealistic expectations. And that can lead to a lot of disappointment, a lot of poor decision making, a lot of wrong emotions. How do you manage your own expectations about trading, and how do you help others do the same?
Well, first of all, it's super important to acknowledge that nobody knows for sure what the future holds, right? Nobody. Every trade that we place, every trade has a bullish and bearish argument, right? You can find compelling reasons to be bullish and equally compelling reasons to be bearish. That is the duality of trading. It's the duality of life, really. And that duality in the market is constant. And recognizing and accepting that duality will only help you approach the market with uh, with more humility, with more flexibility. Instead of being overly confident in any single prediction, what's going to happen is that you're going to learn to relax your rigid views, and you're going to prepare more for various outcomes. This is what this does. And this brings us squarely back to the central pillar of trading, in my opinion, which is risk management, right? As traders, we're really risk managers. That's all we're doing, right? Since the future is uncertain, right? And every trade carries potential for both gains and losses. This is where your primary focus should be on, right? It's really risk management, and by managing risk effectively, you can ensure that no single trade can significantly, harm your trading account. And this way you can stay in the game longer and be better positioned to capitalize on opportunities as they arise. So this is the kind of work that I do with traders, because it's one thing to understand this, and I'm sure a lot of traders understand this. They understand that there's uncertainty in the market. They understand the critical role of risk management, but there's a disparity. There's a gap. That's better. There's a gap between what they know they should be doing and what they're actually doing. This is called the consistency gap. And that's the kind of work that I do with them. I help them bridge that gap, that consistency gap, that disparity between what they know they should be doing and what they're actually doing. Um, and Yeah, so once again, most traders lose, but it's not a question of knowledge. A lot of traders have a lot of knowledge. They have plenty of knowledge, but still they lose in the market, and that's because they can't get themselves to do what they know they should be doing.
I kind of wanted to go back to the specific trading side of things. What are your favorite products that you trade, and are there any asset classes that kind of come easier to you, with more of an even keeled mindset, that might be different from other products out there that might be a little bit different, if that makes sense?
Hmm. Yes. So personally, I'm a stock trading kind of guy. I'm also a long mostly kind of guy. That's my temperament. I don't like shorting that much. I'm 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 fundamentally an optimistic guy. That's my temperament. And of course, I'm gonna short stuff if we're in a secular bear market. But I approach trading from the perspective that markets are fundamentally designed to go up, right? Um, well, because they're driven by long-term economic growth and innovation, and just the natural tendency of companies to create value, of human beings to create value. And I'm just bullish on the human spirit. And so yeah, that's me. That's my that's how I approach things. That's a central idea that underpin my trading, especially my long-term trading, because I do both long-term and short-term trading. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm blind to downturns or corrections, but rather I prefer to align trades with this underlying bias that in a secular bull market. the odds favor the upside, momentum rather than downside, right? And I find it easier to capture significant gains on the long side. Um, and if, even in bear markets, I often look for opportunities to go long on oversold conditions, or when there's clear evidence of a turnaround in the market. So this is how I approach things overall, Fred. And I don't know if this answers your question, um, but yeah,
Well,
this is how I do things.
yeah, that's perfect. What would you say? You talked about doing both short and long term trading. Which one's more psychologically demanding for you? The short term or the long term?
Yes, it's definitely the short term is more, much more demanding, because of the rapidity of market feedback, right? Look, markets are fractal, right? Meaning their patterns look similar, no matter how much you zoom in or zoom out, right? The real challenge with short term time frames is, once again, how fast the rapidity of market feedback is. And this quick feedback, it often leads traders to make impulsive decisions, right? And our brains aren't always great at making calm, sort of, rational decisions when things are changing rapidly like that, which often leads to mistakes, to trading errors. It's really easy to get caught up in just the immediate gains and losses, and make poor trading decisions overall. Now, on the flip side, longer time frames, they give you more breathing room, right? And they make, making decisions. They make thoughtful decisions much easier. The slower feedbacks helps you stay calmer and just more rational, and more in control of your choices. That said, short-term trading, um, yes, it's trickier, but doesn't mean that it doesn't work, right? There are a lot of people out there making a lot of money with short-term trading, with the right approach and the right strategy, and with the right mindset overall. I make money both in short-term trading and in long-term trading. And a lot of students in my coaching program, they do so as well. They're able to extract consistent money from the market, week after week after week, months after months. But once again, success in short-term trading, it needs more precision. It needs a lot of discipline, right? There's just no room for second guessing or inconsistent strategies, or just an inconsistent mindset, because markets are really unforgiving on the shorter term, time frames. And if you're not well prepared for that, mentally, logistically, strategically, it's just going to be very difficult for you to thrive as a short-term trader.
Right. Well, and I know you said some of the emotion can cause traders to make mistakes and errors. How do you advise your traders to build and maintain resiliency when they might be taking losses or making errors or mistakes while trading? What kind of advice and techniques do you use to kind of to build that to stay calm and be able to overcome any of these losses?
hmm Well, first of all, it's important to be kind with yourself, to stay kind with yourself, because it's very easy for us to default um, to this habit that we all have, to just beat ourselves up when we're not getting the results that we want. But it's important to frame, you know, this idea of losses, right? It's not really a loss if you're learning from it, right? It's just a learning experience, right? And um, yeah, so it really depends on how you frame experience at the end of the day, right? Um, um, yeah, chaos, challenges, they can be seen as something bad, or they can be seen as an opportunity to just do better. And That framing, that positive framing, that optimistic framing is very, very important, because as I was telling you guys earlier, the market has no shortage of challenges and difficulties, and it will continually throw challenges at you. And if you're not prepared, if you have a negative mindset to begin with, it's going to be very difficult for you to thrive in the market, because you're always going to be taking things personally. You're always going to be thinking that you're making one step forward and two steps back, and you're going to lose touch with that bigger picture of, okay, yes, perhaps I'm not making progress right now. I'm doing the same mistakes over and over again, but I'm progressing, right? Over the long term, I'm much better than I was yesterday. Keeping that long-term perspective is very, very important, because once again the market will keep throwing challenges at you. There's a level of uncertainty baked into market prices that no amount of analysis can fully dispel. And this, you, you can't spend your time fearing this. You have to embrace it, you have to accept it, and you have to know that, look, you're going to make a bunch of mistakes on your way to mastery, on your way to consistency in the market. The problem that most traders have is that they're trying to make money too fast, right? Um, they're focused on making money when they don't even have the skills yet to make money and keep money. Very important, because it's one thing to make money, but keeping it is where the rubber meets the road. And most traders can make money, yes, but in terms of keeping it, very few can. And keeping it and growing it, right? So this is where the challenge is. And once again, patience with yourself, with the process is key. It's crucial, really. And then I would say, learn to appreciate where you are, where you stand in life. What's the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. This is very true, especially in this social media world that we live in. We see traders post their profits or whatever it is, and sometimes it's not even true. They're doctored results, right? But you see this as someone who is just, trying to learn and grow and evolve as a trader, and better your life as a trader. And you see others making bank in the market, and you look at your own results and you immediately think, okay, I'm not improving fast enough. But that's poison right there. You have no business comparing your life to someone else's life, to your journey to someone else's journey, because everything about you is different. You have different family. You have a different genetical makeup. You have different life experiences. Everything about you is different. So you should be comparing yourself to where you were, not to where someone is in their lives, right? Um, so yeah.
And Ivan, what are asset classes do you prefer to trade? Because I guess that a lot of what you're saying also depends on the asset classes, right? Because there are asset classes that are quote unquote, less volatile, so therefore a little bit requires a little bit less of mindfulness maybe versus asset classes like gold or Bitcoin, where you know things can go sour very very fast or your way very very fast. So what asset classes do you enjoy most trading?
Right. I stick mostly with stocks, although I've been venturing. Our investors have pressured us, me and my partner, to venture more into cryptocurrencies these days. And so we've added that to our portfolio. And But yeah, look, volatility isn't a problem, David. It's really how you frame it. Volatility can be a good thing, right? Chaos and opportunity are just two sides of the same coin. And yeah, initially volatility can catch you off guard, but the way I see it is that, um, volatility is a sort of reshuffling of the deck, right? At the end of the day, and it's really the mindset that you bring into trading that makes all the difference, because volatility, it creates new opportunities in the market. So if you're approaching trading with fears and with expectations and with anxiety, your execution is going to reflect that. Your execution is going to reflect that. You're going to force trades. You're going to be chasing the market. You're going to be second guessing your decisions, and that kind of mindset breeds inconsistency overall. And you don't want that, right? You want to shift your thinking. You want to shift your demeanor, right, and overall approach. And when you're able to do that, everything changes. Suddenly, you're more in tuned with the market. You're more in tuned with the process of trading, and you're more at ease with the uncertainty that the market has. You'll be waiting for the right opportunities in the market, the right setups. You'll execute without hesitation, and win or lose each outcome. Um, you greet them with composure, with the composure of someone who understands, who trusts, and who feels internally secure. So yeah, um, and the right kind of mindset creates the right action. The right actions create create the consistency that you desire and deserve in trading. So, and I mean, trading is a mental game. I hope I've made this clear, right? After you've figured out a statistically viable trading strategy, it's you against yourself. It's really a mental game. And the thing that I find sad is that most traders don't give the mental game of trading the attention it deserves. They automatically think that they already have this figured out, but most traders don't. And the statistics bear this out. Most traders lose money, and it's not because the market is rigged against them. Um, Look, the market has trends and cycles, and those are broadly predictable. Broadly as in generally, right? Um, and if you adopt a certain level of consistency amidst that sort of that amidst the market's ups and downs, if you have a viable trading strategy, statistically speaking, you will make more money than you lose, right? But very often, what often gets in the way is that most traders, they don't have the right mindset to begin with, and they end up shooting themselves in the foot. And So yeah, that is the main issue. That is the main culprit behind most trading errors.
So I have one for you, Yvonne. Is meditating easy? It looks great from the outside looking in. How does one get into meditating? Does it take work?
Well, it's as easy as hard as you make it to be. Look, the science is very clear about meditation. Even 5 minutes a day can be impactful. The If you make it a habit, it has to be consistent, right? It's called a practice for a reason, because once again, it takes a repeated seeing and learning and engaging and intention to effect the transformation. You're not going to get result if you meditate every now and then, right? You have to make it a daily habit. And once again, the science is clear about this. Even 5 minutes a day can be hugely impactful. But the practice in and of itself isn't difficult. You're just sitting with yourself, you're observing your thoughts, your breath, your feelings, and you're doing it from a place of just non-judgment, right? You're not analyzing what you're sensing, you're just being with it, and you're just allowing yourself to feel it, whatever it is: sight, sound, sensations, emotions, feelings, whatever it is. You're just being with what is. And in being with what is, you develop insight into what those are. And you start to see that your feelings, they're impermanent, right? And they don't have to dictate how you are in the world and how you feel. Like really, they're really impermanent. One moment you're feeling frustrated, and the next moment you're feeling happy. This is the lifespan of an emotion is very, very short if you don't hold on to it, right? And with a consistent meditation practice, you reinforce this understanding in your mind. And when that understanding is reinforced for you, um, look, your life is changed, right? Because you access a certain level of freedom from your thoughts, from your feelings, from your emotions that few people have. and that can be a game changer in your life, in the market as well. And there's a reason why a lot of those institutions out there, talking about Goldman Sachs and others, they they offer meditation classes to to their traders, right? They often invite meditation teachers, renowned meditation teachers, to lead workshops for their traders, um, because it's not hearsay anymore. This. I mean, it's backed by science, right? There's legit research that have been made on the practice, and it works. It simply does, provided that you give it a fair trial and that you stick with the practice day in and day out. It's going to help you develop a certain level of patience, a certain depth of thought, and that is very important. Living an examined life like that, it's I mean, it's a game changer because most people out there, living externally. I was walking down the street a few months ago, not here in Mauritius, but in Canada, and I saw this case of road rage. Just two guys getting out of their cars and insulting each other's and hitting each other, and I remember thinking, oh wow, these folks, they would make lousy traders because they're just so much in their emotions. There's no separation between an event and their emotional reaction to that event. They're just full on into their emotions. And sure, in life that works, sometimes in trading it doesn't work. You need more maturity in how you deal with yourself, in how you deal with your emotions, and this can be developed. Absolutely, it's a practice once again.
All right. Ivan, thank you so much for joining our podcast. It was great to have you. For the audience that is listening, if they want to learn more about you, about your program, do you have a website, a place that they can go and learn more?
Right. So people can find me on social media. I'm very active there, especially on Twitter. Just have to type Trading Composure, whether on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm available there. I have a small YouTube channel as well. I don't post a lot there because I don't have a lot of time these days to do that. But I have a few videos there where I delve a little bit deeper on the topic of trading psychology. And also, by the way, I have this new book that's out. It's called Trading Composure. And Wiley and Sons, one of the leading publishers of financial literature, they reached out last year, asking if I was interested in collaborating with them on a book project. And I found the idea, very compelling. And yeah, so I decided to write about exactly what we talked about here, the importance of embracing uncertainty for traders, the importance of developing emotional resilience. And writing that book was a great learning experience for me because it allowed me to structure my own thoughts on those topics. It allowed me to express them in different ways using different analogies and thought experiments. And once again, the book is called Trading Composure. It's available on Amazon, and I invite your audience to check it out if they want to delve deeper in this fascinating topic that is trading psychology. But once again, you guys, thank you for having me on. It was a real pleasure, chatting with you all today.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much,
thank you.
Ivan. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and see you on the next Face the Trader.